franchises of CertaPro of the main line, is here to just share some great life experience and wisdom, things that he has learned. And we just, give me a round of applause for Chris Drucquer.
Thank you, Susan. That was a fantastic introduction. This is Susan's vision this evening, and I have to say, Susan, you pulled it off. This is fantastic. You really did. So I will warn you all, I am not a professional speaker. I am not a motivational speaker. I'm not going to jump on top of the table and say, go, 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 get them. I'm just going to share some of my life experiences and a couple things I've learned along the way. So my history, I was the third to buy a CertaPro franchise 21 years ago. And the goal back then was to one day have a $500,000 business. And I got there within 6 or 7 years. And then worked my way towards $1 million, and I was at that level 7 years ago. And the perfect storm happened 7 years ago. I had way too much overhead because I was about to go to $2 million in my head, right? Big ego. And the economy crashed, and I found out I was getting divorced all at the same time. That is the perfect storm.
Keyword being perfect, right?
4 little kids, too. So, as you can imagine, my business crashed to half that level, crashed down to a $500,000 level, and I still had all the overhead. I had a salesperson, I had an office manager. So as you can imagine, 7 years ago, I lost a lot of money. 3 points I wanted to talk about today, and then I'll start getting into the 3 points. The one is the concept that good is the enemy of great. Has anybody heard of that? Good is the enemy of great. So I want to get into that. I want to get into working on your business, not just in your business. None of these are revolutionary, of course. And number 3 is knowing what you stand for. Truly knowing what you stand for as a company. So good is the enemy of great. The concept there is when things are pretty good, why would you strive to be great? And that's how I felt 7 years ago. Things were pretty good. I had a pretty good business, and I had a pretty good life. So what's the motivation to triple my business at that stage? To be honest, there wasn't. Sometimes you need a fall to realize where you really need to go, where you want to go. You think of an alcoholic, and they can survive for a while, and then eventually they hit rock bottom, and that's when they see the light. And that's what happened to me as I'm losing my house and trying to figure out how to pay for my children's basic necessities. So what I remember back to is growing up, my father and my mother owned a restaurant. It's called Culligan Stockton Inn in New Hope. And someone knows it? Or And I remember being about 12 years old and wandering around the town and mentioning that I was Todd Drucker's son. I do get emotional. It's part of my charm. And they said, I said I was Todd Drucker's son, and they said, oh, wow, you're really lucky. He's a great guy. He treats his employees well. Fantastic business. And that pride in your family, it meant a lot to me. So I'm at my rock bottom, and I'm trying to sort out my life. And I tried to figure out what was really important. The interesting thing about being at rock bottom is you're losing everything, but you can figure out what's really important. And for me, it was my kids. I pull myself together every time, I promise. So I wanted to be, at the very least, strive to be a great father. And that's what I could do for that year when I was pulling out of my hole. It's just strive to be a great father. And then I started to think through what a great father looks like in 5 or 10 years out. And of course, it's paying for college tuition. But it's also just holding your head out high and feeling very good about yourself and proud of yourself. And I decided that part of that for me was I wanted to have a great business. And a great business for me is a profitable business. It's a business that people look up to. It's a business where I have this yellow shirt now, and we've had yellow as our color for the last 5 years, and I walk into every Cozy and Starbucks, and at least 1 or 2 people come up and say, Chris, you do great work. It's giving back to the community. I still remember a story. It was Christmas Eve at my dad's restaurant, my parents' restaurant, I should say. And one of the waitresses, all of her presents were stolen out of her car on Christmas Eve in our parents' parking lot. Thank you. And my dad felt so bad, and my mom said, "What are we going to do?" So, at the urging of my mom, my dad bought the presents for her to help her out. So now in our business, Andrea, who's in the back, who is my fiance, and lucky guy.
We're still scratching our heads.
So I wanted to be a company that gave back, but Andrea really has the passion for that. And she's the reason that our coat drive has gone from 200 coats to 1,700 coats. And when the kids in Kensington, they need books, Andrea says, what are we going to do? So good is the enemy of great. In my mind, it's just like a New Year's resolution, okay? You want to lose weight, okay? But what's the motivation? Do you just want to lose a couple pounds? That's probably not going to work. You need some sort of a strong motivation. You need to think through a year, 2 years down the road, what that change that you make is going to mean to you. And I'm thinking of probably the person that makes a New Year's resolution that works really well is maybe a bride-to-be, because they know there's a wedding in 6 months, and they want to look great in the pictures, and those pictures are going to be around for 20 years. But they can think through. It's kind of a silly example, but they're thinking through. There's extra motivation there. There is. So in my mind, I want to grow my business to show our children what a great business looks like. But it can be anything. If you need to think through 5 years from now, if you do that, what the difference is. So my second point is work on your business, not just in your business. And that's what we all fall prey to, which is just doing the do and not standing back and looking at your business and figuring out what you really should be doing, because you might be heading completely in the wrong direction. So I'll just give you a couple of examples of what I do. I spend a week, typically around Thanksgiving, early December, doing a business plan for almost an entire week. And I think ahead the next year, and the next 3 years, and the next 5 years. And this is in preparation for a meeting I have with my board of directors, we call it. It's called a flight group, a forum group. These are a lot of different terms for this. But there are 8 of us, and we get together quarterly, talk about our business plans, and we really force each other to make sure it's realistic and help each other really see the things that we didn't see ourselves. So we meet quarterly. I also have a coach that I speak with for half an hour every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Never miss it. And it's just about 3 simple goals typically. And how did I do last week? And what am I going to do this week to hit those goals? And then the last thing I do is, especially now that we want to triple again. So, and that's going to be a completely different process, and I can get into it later. But there's a lot that needs to be figured out to get to $4 or $5 million. So I take 3 to 4 hours every 2 weeks. I shut my cell phone off, and I tell everyone in my office that, please, that's a time that's sacred, and I need to focus on something else. And that's when I sit down myself and just try to figure out what the next step is and what I should be doing. So if you take anything away from this, it's literally just every week or every 2 weeks, take an hour or 2 and tell your spouse and tell your friends and tell your employees and tell people that you're working with that that time is sacred, and that's really important because you really want to build your business. And then the third point I wanted to make, and then I'll wrap up. Know what you stand for. Seems so simple, right? How do you know what you stand for? So half of our business now is previous customers. So I always ask the same question. What did we do well, and what could we do better? And if you start hearing the same answer over and over again, A, you're doing something well, and that's something that you grab onto and promote. In our business, it comes down to something very simple. Our customers believe that our prices are fair and our guys are great. And when I say our guys are great, our guys are great. I mean, I get emotional when I think of them because most of them are from Brazil. They came here for a better life. They have families back home to support. They have families here they're supporting. They work extremely hard. They wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they wake up trying to figure out what they can do that day to please that customer. Because they know that in our business is what it's all about, is our customers being happy. And they're very good at that. And I hear it over and over. And Chris, we come back because your prices are fair and your guys are great. So, I mean, there are a couple examples in here, like Tom Fran, you're in the back. If you could raise your hand. Sells insurance, does it very, very well. I just want to tell you a quick story about Tom Fran, because Tom knows what he knows what he stands for. We were both founding members of the group. So 10 years ago, we knew each other. 2 years down the line, he'd already signed me up for insurance. I get a phone call on my cell phone. It's Tom Ferran, and I don't have much time for him. What do you got, Tom? And he's like, well, do you have a couple minutes? I want to talk to you about your insurance. Sounds like a sales call to me. I know I don't have time for it. Tell me a little bit more, Tom, but I got to go. He's like, well, I've been monitoring your DMV report, and 2 points just dropped off your record.
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Motor vehicles.
Okay.
I had a speeding ticket or something. He said, I've been monitoring your DMV report.
Or two.
2 points just dropped off. I can get you into Erie Insurance, much better insurance with a better company. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking it's more expensive, I'm sure. You know, how much more? No, it's less. Then I was kind of incredulous at that point. I'm like, Tom, what's in it for you? What's in it for me? I'm not thinking about today, I'm thinking about 10 years from now.
Here you are.
I'm never shopping insurance. That's what he did 8 years ago. I'm never shopping insurance. He is my insurance agent for life. He knows what he stands for. What's that? Ron, you're next. Ron's a roofer. Ron's a good roofer. Ron's a great roofer. Here's what I know about Ron, because I see it on Facebook every day. Ron brings a huge team to these jobs, and these jobs are done in a day, almost every single one of them. And I've seen roofing jobs that take weeks. And who wants shingles and nails like flying off your house for weeks? Ron knows that people don't want that. They want it done in a day or two. And you know what he also knows is the biggest complaint about roofers? Can anybody guess what the biggest complaint about roofers is?
Smell the mess.
They smoke. They smell. They drink. They leave. Here's the answer I have for you guys today. They leave nails. They leave nails everywhere. They're picking up nails for years. So Ron comes out on every job with this huge magnet. He picks up all the nails. Would you refer that roofer? Ron knows what he stands for. And I'll pick on one more. Steve Austin. Steve does kitchens and bathrooms. Everyone loves their contractor when the job starts. Everyone does, because they chose them. They got 5 bids, and they picked the best guy for their job, and they love their contractor the first day. Rarely do they like their contractor on the last day. That's not true of Steve. Because I'm the painter, and Steve refers me a whole lot. And I'm there at the end. And they still either like or love. It's somewhere in that range, depending.
I shoot for the love.
We shoot for the love. So it's so important and so basic, but just know what you stand for. And that's what we've been focusing on for the last 5 years, and it's helped us tremendously. So I just want to give a plug to the group. I know Susan's about to do this, but so there are 25 of us that we meet every Wednesday morning at the Villanova Conference Center, and we trade referrals, we help each other, we give each other advice. Me personally, I get anywhere between $30,000 and $100,000 of work just coming to these meetings every Wednesday morning at the Villanova Conference Center. And I have a referral network of people that I have confidence in, and I have confidence in because they're great people and because I see the whites of their eyes every Wednesday morning. So if there's an issue, I can address it. So So good luck growing your business. I'll leave you with a final quote. It's a Henry Ford. It's my favorite quote right now. It is, if you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. Thank you very much.